Welcome Space Nerds! On the aftermath of the Rosetta mission, we decided to talk about the first ever mission to study a comet close by. It was an unprecedented international effort in which several space agencies joined forces into what will be known as the Halley Armada. Halley is probably the most famous comet. There are records of observation since 240 BC. In 1705, the astronomer Edmund Halley published a paper in which he stated that all of those observations were related to the same comet, and he predicted that it will be back in 1758. And he was right. He was not alive to witness it though, but the comet was named after him. So 1P Halley, or Halley's Comet, is a short period comet that passes by Earth every 75 years. The last time was in 1986 and we were ready for it. This started as a cooperation between NASA and ESA. Due to budget cuts, NASA backed out and decided not to launch any probe. The plan was then changed and the Armada idea took shape. ESA launched one probe, the Soviet Union launched two probes, and ISIS, now part of JAXA, launched two probes as well. NASA helped with spacecraft already in space. So let's start with them. NASA used the Pioneer Venus orbiter to take measurements of water loss during the perihelion, when it was difficult to observe the comet from Earth in February 1986. Then they used Pioneer 7 that was launched in 1966, which was in an heliocentric orbit. On March 1986, at a distance of 12.3 million kilometers from the comet, it monitored the interaction between the cometary tail and the solar winds. Finally, they used the International Cometary Explorer, or ICE, in the same month to take some more measurements. The Soviet Union launched two probes, Vega 1 and 2, in cooperation with the French space agency, CNES. They launched them on December 1984 on top of a Proton K from Baikonur. When the probes arrived at Venus on June 1985 to perform a gravity assist to intercept Halley, they both dropped the lander and the Balloon Explorer. This way they managed to further study the atmosphere and surface of the planet. That's impressive to say the least.
We've got a badass over here.
On March 4th, 1986, the probe started to return images from the comet to help pinpoint Giotto's flyby. The data returned from the Vegas helped to understand the properties of the comet. On January 7, 1985, Japan ISIS launched Sakigake on top of a Mu-3S-2 from Kagoshima. This was Japan's first interplanetary mission. Its main objective was to take measurements and make tests to prepare the main Halley mission. And that mission was Suisei, that was launched on August 18, 1985 on top of a M-3S-2-2 from Uchiura. The mission was to take UV images of the hydrogen corona 30 days before and after the comet descending crossing of the ecliptic plane. Then we have the superstar of the Armada, Giotto. It was launched on top of the Ariane 1 from the French Guiana on July 2, 1985. Thanks to the data gathered by the Vega probes, it was possible to get Giotto way closer to Halley's nucleus. On March 14, 1986, it flew by a distance of 596 kilometers, but it was bombarded by dust particles. One of the impacts destabilized it into a spin and the antenna was no longer pointing at Earth. Plus, the dust shield was no longer protecting the scientific instruments. But it survived. The probe managed to restabilize itself and continue the mission. Fortunately, it managed to take pictures of the nucleus before the impacts to destroy the multicolor camera. They also found out that the nucleus was dark. And they also realized that the comet was formed with some of the most primitive material in the solar system. Unfortunately, there was no equipment on board to further study these materials. This is the reason Rosetta was so packed with instruments. Now, it's worth to mention that Giotto not only survived this mission, but after this it flew by another comet, this time at a 200-kilometer distance. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I just love this mission, or this set of missions that show us that international cooperation is the way to go regarding space exploration. If you like what we do, please help us and like and subscribe, and have a good week!